If you're not listening to the Smoke World podcast, you're wasting your time, you mortal.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Smoke World. I'm your host, Stone. So go grab that stick, go grab a glass, whatever you're drinking. Let's sit back and have a conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com. The website, folks, you already know what I'm going to say. You already have the ending. Is this a broken record? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. SmokeWorldPodcast.com. Go check out the website. We made some updates. We're making some moves. And if you look on the homepage, Cigar Recon is up there. But now, guess what, people? The price has changed. You will need the promo code SmokeWorld21 to get that price. Again, on Cigar Recon, on the homepage of the Smoke World Podcast, that price has changed. You need the promo code, and the promo code is SmokeWorld21 when you want to make that purchase. Gives you 30% off. So this episode is one that surprisingly I didn't have published. So it's one I dug up, and it's a great episode. It's with Sherm Catering, the owner there, Lisette, the Georgia State's rep in the southern area, and my girl Toni from Spartan. And we sit down, we have a conversation, and Sherm explains some of the great things he's doing with the Leukemia Society, and Lisette gives a little breakdown. So again, it's a little lengthy, but it's some good information. Sherm's giving out some great information, so just want you to stay tuned, listen up, and see if you can maybe learn something, actually. You know, it's a great foundation that he has going on, so maybe you can donate to that cause. So I want you to sit back and enjoy this episode, okay? Here we go.
And a surprise guest this evening is our new Georgia State rep, Lisette. She has honored us with her presence tonight. So after we discuss LLS with Sherm, then we'll jump over to Lisette.
Yes, thank you for having me. So I really appreciate being here and, to support this great cause, Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And, everything that you're saying too about, what, it is tough. Times are tough. And sometimes I wish I could give $1,000, and imagine if 250 people could give $1,000. But you know what? If you have $5 to give $5.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're going to put the link down the bottom. $5, $10, $25, $50, whatever you can give. We appreciate it. If you don't want the book or don't want the cigars and you just want to give the LLS, please, the link will be in down the bottom on Facebook. So yeah, and it goes directly to them. It's a link directly to them. And basically this year I am the team captain of Lucky Betty's Leprechaun. So my mother was a 20-year cancer survivor. So she had cancer on and off for over 20 years, and she passed away last December on the 23rd. So my buddy came to me and asked me if I would do this, and I graciously accepted, and we started back in, this is June, so May, April. We started collecting money in April for the competition, and basically it's the Man of the Year competition, and what that is basically the person who raises the most amount of money is crowned Man/Woman of the Year, because there'll be a man and a woman that's crowned for Northern Delaware, and a man and a woman will be crowned for Southern Delaware. So, and that'll all happen Thursday night right after our book event. So
Nice.
So let's help our family.
Yeah, please.
Let's make him Man of the Year so his head can get a little bit bigger.
Well, be careful, because they already said it's too big. I mean, it's
Yeah,
funny
we'll
how
put a
you're
screen right now. Yeah,
it's funny how you're sort of but yes. So it's not really about winning the award or the event. It's about raising money, and they just do it in a fun way with a little bit of competition to try to raise the most amount. So I want to make that clear. It's not really about a trophy. It's about making sure we raise the most amount of money to help blood cancer. And for those of you who don't know, blood is the easiest way for them to research cancer. So because you can take it out the easiest, you don't have to do all the surgeries or pull out lymph nodes or all that kind of stuff to do it, so they can just pull it out. And blood cancer is like a way that they actually find cures for other cancers as well.
Okay, so
and that's through this journey I've learned even more about all that. My mom didn't have blood cancer, but this is part of, hopefully they find cures for all the cancers, and that this is a good start.
Great. Good news. Good news.
Yeah. We are stuck. Oh no. Technical difficulties.
Would it be a podcast without technical difficulties?
Of course not.
It's live. It's real.
Exactly.
So the book. So the book is about small business. I guess that's what we're here to talk about as well. So it's a nice read. It's a quick read. It's about kind of like the things in my journey for the past 23 years that I thought would help other entrepreneurs, business owners, people thinking about starting their own business. It's called Destination Success: 8 Mindset Hacks for Every Entrepreneur. And basically, I took 8 concepts of what I thought were struggles, hurdles, things that were like aha learning moments for me through my 20 plus years of being a business owner, entrepreneur, those kinds of things. So, it's a quick and easy read, and there's after every chapter, there's spots for you to make notes. And as I've learned over the 20-some years, you're going to read the book once and learn something, then you'll read the book again and learn something else. Because in your journey as a business owner, things change. Every year there's something different. You're tackling a different issue, a different thing, and it's good just a quick read. Or you thought, hey, wasn't there something in there? And you read it again, and then you find another way to pivot around things. So that was the whole purpose of writing the book and helping out other entrepreneurs.
Because that's the question I would have. What
Sure.
inspired you? Now, you mentioned that, obviously, to help out other entrepreneurs, but what was really the inspiration to say, you know what, maybe there was conversations coming to you from people who were just beginning to get into business and say, you know what, sure, let me ask you a couple questions, let me run this past you. Was it that type of scenario, or was it more so, you know what, I just have a passion for this right now. I think I got something I can share with the world. I'm going to write this book. So
I think it's more the first than the second. Obviously, when you sit down in any cigar lounge, everybody, cigars kind of equalize everyone. So everybody starts talking, and then when they find out you're a business owner and what you do and things like that, people start asking questions. And I've always been free with information. I would always answer questions or try to help people, or if I hear they're having an issue, I said, hey, have you ever tried doing it this way, or did you think about that, or hey, you need to call this person because they do this, that, and the other, whether it's financing or accounting or insurance or whatever it is. And it's normally always brothers and sisters of the leaf that, we're all around and helping. And that's kind of, we were sitting in COVID. One of my buddies, Kareem, had wrote a book a few years back, and he's like, you should do it too. And I'm like, and English reading, grammar has never really been like a strong suit for me. So I was like, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. And I'd always like just kind of push it off. And I was sitting on my balcony with one of my best friends, McLean, and we were sitting there, and he's like, Sherm, you need to stop helping everybody. You need to start writing a book. And I was like, so many people have said this so many times that maybe I should just start doing it. So I started, and I'm going to tell you, it's probably one of the hardest things I had to do, because writing isn't easy. It's all up here, but it's tough to get it on the paper.
Okay.
And it was one of those things that it took me a while. Kareem helped me a lot. I've actually I hired a professional proofreader to help me. Kareem helped me, and then I put it out to a couple of my friends. James is one of them, and we all like kind of collaborated on, does this make sense? I originally wrote the book in one version, and I let everybody read it that knew me,
right.
And then I sent it to somebody that didn't know me, and I said, does this make sense to you? Like, if you read this, do you understand that? And she's like, no. So you need to add this.
Wrong answer.
Well, no, it's not the
great.
wrong
No,
answer.
no,
But
right.
yeah, I mean, it was the right answer, because
that's correct.
only the people that knew me or knew of me or knew my journey would know what I was speaking of. So I had to go back in and even add more things, which then I was like, I had to write more. So I thought I was done.
Right. You wanted to speak to the
Then I had to
masses.
go back and write some more. But the point was, I wanted, if I'm going to do something like this, it has to make sense for everyone, not just a few people. So We went back and we revised it and added some more, more content and more stories. And what I didn't want it to be about was me. Like, I didn't want it just to be stories all about me and my childhood, my, adolescence, when I first got started. Like, all those things are like all the little, like, a lot of people when they write books, they tell stories about things that happened. I wanted it to kind of be more of an informational, like a guideline or an outline to help you move forward. Yeah, and then she's like, no, you have to put that stuff in there.
You do.
So they can relate to your struggles and the reasons why you changed or chose to do certain things, and that's what it was. It was, I can sit here and talk all day. You know what I mean? But putting it down on
read the
paper
book.
and stuff.
Like I said, it's a great book. I
Yeah.
read the book. That's the reason I asked that question.
It.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
And that was the reason I asked that question. What inspired you to write that book? Now, I don't know if alcohol was involved. When you
Alcohol is always involved.
Of course. Okay.
So if I don't have at least a vodka or a scotch in my hand with a cigar, then you should ask questions. Like currently, I only have a water, but normally it's a alcoholic beverage in one hand and a
cigar.
Because this is my downtime. Like as owners of businesses, you're doing 3,000 things a minute. You know what I mean? And when you get done, really all I want to do is kind of decompress from the day. And sit down, and then what happens is you sit down and somebody else is having an issue, and then you just jump right in and try to help fix.
Yeah.
Because that's who we are.
Right.
As owners and managers and high performing, salespeople and managers, your job is to fix issues. And when you see somebody that's struggling, you don't want them to struggle like you struggled, and you just try to help. And I figured, well, here it is. You don't have to actually talk to me. You can actually just pick up the book and read it if you'd like. And again, it's a real quick read. It's only 110 pages. It's not crazy or this guy. What's up, Parsons? What's going on, baby? So so that's that was the inspiration of it. It wasn't like, oh, I should write a book, kind of thing. Or now's the time to be an author. It was just like, hey, I have all this information. I should probably put it down. And maybe that'll help somebody as well.
So have you got any feedback?
Yeah, I mean it's been pretty much actually it's been all positive. It's all been all positive feedback. The professional proofreader, when she read it, she was like, oh my god, I was going through the same thing. So it before I even put it out, it helped one person. So now it's just continually to help people just and it doesn't. You don't have to be a business owner. These are real life skill systems. It's perception. It's leadership. You need to understand and learn how to lead your family. You know what I mean? So it's not just about business. It's about life, and it can be translated in any form or fashion you want to have a better high performing life, as well as business or anything else you're trying to do. So
that's definitely okay. So now here's another question for you.
All right.
I have questions all day, every day. Now, like I said, I read the book. Excellent. And I think it's important when you were saying earlier that you thought maybe it shouldn't be about you, but to understand where you came from, the humble beginnings, because, a lot of people see the glory, but don't know the backstory.
Sure.
They don't know exactly the struggles or the tribulations that you have to, the hoops that you have to jump to get where you're at. So I think, like I said, the young lady who told you that you needed to put that in there, I have to commend her.
Yeah.
Because, again, it kind of gives a story, gives the pattern, tells me, okay, this is where Sherm started off at. Like anybody else, we all sometimes get to that point we want to give up. Like, you know what? This is enough. I can't do it. You know what I mean? This is not going to work for me. I'm done. Calling it quits. But you kind of addressed some of those issues, that mindset.
You got to get through it. It's,
right.
As a business owner, you want to quit almost every day probably. You know what I mean? Because it's tough. It's not easy. You have a lot of things thrown at you all day, every day. You know what I mean? Whether it's customers, whether it's government, whether it's insurance, attorneys, employees, anything. It could be vendors. It could be, everything happens. You know what I mean? Like life happens every single day, and you have to learn how to react to that and understand that, as long as you have a good goal, a strong why, and understand that every step forward will get you there. You don't quit. That's it. You just take one step. Everybody thinks that we open these businesses up and we're going to be successful, tomorrow, and that's really not how it is. And to your point, there's a great graphic that you can Google and just Google success, and it comes up with an iceberg, and it says success above the water, and then below the water there's like 14 different things, and that's really what any business owner goes through. You struggle, and all of a sudden you look up one day and there's people like touting you. That was my first aha, was when I was awarded Entrepreneur of the Year in 2013. I was struggling to keep this catering business up and moving forward and hard, and I didn't realize how much I was appreciated in the community until that happened. And I was like, wow, maybe, and that's part of the chapter of, realizing successes, is that you have to take all the successes. They don't have to be that all of a sudden you hit $1 million or you're making $100,000. Every success leads to the next success. And whether it's small or large, they're all successes. So you have to have the mindset to always look for them. And that's part of being grateful, and making sure you're doing that every day too. Because you can see the negative. It's there. It's all around you at all times. But you have to stay focused on the positive and understand that, you just keep one step at a time, one foot in front of the other.
So did you always have it in your mind that you would have 8 mindsets? Or did you, when you first started making notes, did you have like 20 mindsets? How did you get to 8?
So 8 was just the number that it came up with. And I was told like several times that it shouldn't be 8. It should just be, like we were Kareem was trying to get me to cut out 2 of them because he didn't think it would last, and I kept going, no, these should be in there. And then he's like, well, we should add a few more, and I'm like, no, I think these are the ones. Like, I think this is the 8 things that everybody should know. I didn't come up with a number in the beginning because when we started, he said, how you start is you do the outline. So I started out with like who I am, and then I just went from each one as it came to me. I started writing it down, and I would fill it in, and it took a while to get to the 8. Because I didn't know really. Like I talk and I speak and I can help, but I didn't know what it would be until it was. And when we read it all the way through, I actually read it 3 times and argued with Kareem 3 times, and I think this is it. This is perfect thing, and I think this is the perfect 8 things that should be there. And it just happened to be 8. Like we had no number set. They say you should have at least 10 chapters, and I have 8. So like everything else in my life, I don't always follow the regular path, but here it is. It's 8 things, that I think work well, and things that you really should focus on. And if you do that, there's other things that you should be doing as well, but these are the 8 things that get you over and past and around everything that normally will come at you in a day-to-day, starting, opening, running, and being successful in a business. So
that's great. So it's a great reference point for people. Like you said, everyone goes through struggles, or they're starting to like second guess themselves, or it's failure after failure after failure. Everyone fails who's successful, right? So
Sure.
It's a great reference back to, okay, you know what? This is actually what I'm going through right now. Like, this will get me through. That's, like I said, just to keep, even not just reading it all the way through once and then again, but this is something that, I need to read this chapter again today. Like,
Sure.
This is the chapter that I need to read today. This is what, I need an extra, boost in, or just in,
Absolutely.
in what I'm going through. So I think that's really great. It's not overwhelming. It's not this huge book where you don't know where to look. I mean, it's it's condensed. When you're young and when you're a child, it was like, learn from my mistakes, or
Sure.
it's always learn from my mistakes. So it's like, you're looking from my mistakes, but also learning from my successes. So for like any young person, or at any age that you decide, now I want to be an entrepreneur, like you said, it doesn't have to be your own business. Like, whatever career you're in, you should treat that like it is your own business.
Sure, because you're looking to do things like the worst thing you could do is be content, or as we like to say, just settle for average. You know what I mean? Like, because that's where you get into the point where one day you realize you've been there 25 years and you're like, I hate this. You know what I mean? Well, you hate it because you didn't have strong goals, or you weren't looking past tomorrow. You have to have strong goals, and they should scare you. Actually, people should laugh at you. Like, when you tell them what you want to do, people should laugh at you. And
True.
You should also keep some of that too close to your chest, because some people don't understand what you're trying to do, and you don't want them to try to deviate you from your path either. And I'm not saying like you have to keep everything a secret, but like James will tell you, like, there's some things, like, I'm doing things and all of a sudden I'm like, yo man, look what's going on. He's like, yo, when did you start that? And I'm like, I started a little while ago. And sometimes you're not sure where the path is going to lead you, so maybe it's not the right time to let everyone know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, do what you're going to do. Have the path. Have the mindset. Have the system in place. Start doing it. And then, you know, as things maybe get a little harder, then you reach out. You should always have a good circle of influence of people, because, you know what they say, if you're standing around 5 jerks, you're the 6th jerk. You know what I mean? So, you know, make sure, and I'm trying to keep this PG-13 for, you know, live. But and I don't know why, but everybody's like, did you just say jerk? But the thing is, you should always have a circle of reference of people. And people ask me about that too. Like, not all my circle of reference are people that are entrepreneurs or business owners. I have people that are, you know, high level corporate, you know, people. I have, you know, other people that, because you go to them for a certain thing, you know, that helps you. You know, I'm not good in HR, you know, so I have somebody that is. This guy's been in corporate America for 30 some years. So if I have a question with something's going on in my business, he's the person I bounce it off of, because if we were as big as a Fortune 500 company with 5,000 employees and all these managers, this is how it would be done. So I want to emulate that at my level. Right. So, hey, this is the problem I'm having. How would you handle this? You know, now I'm not probably going to do it exactly how he does, because I don't have all the resources he has, but I can know, okay, maybe I should curve what I was going to say into this versus saying what I thought I was going to say. You know, because it's tough when, you know, other people can look forwards and backwards and I can't. There's nobody behind me to help me. Like, it's me. So if I say something or I implement something that isn't going to work, I'm responsible for that. I can't go back and say, you know, Johnny Manager told me this is what I'm supposed to do, and now it's his responsibility. No, it's my responsibility.
Right.
It's, as an owner, it's your responsibility at all times. So, you know, I always try for things like that in larger decisions and larger things that I'm looking to deviate or pivot for. I ask my influence of people, like, you know, how would that work in your business, kind of thing. So, and that's, you should have that. You need that. You need people that are going to push you. You know, you don't want everybody that thinks that you're the best, because you're never going to push yourself. So.
So back, if you can think back, you know, just in your young years, in your like even childhood years, like who was someone that really shaped a lot of just your confidence in yourself from years ago? So
that's a double sorted answer.
Okay.
So and it's positive and negative at both sides. So my grandfather was huge. He had a construction company. And I just love going there and working for him. And he always had like really good little tidbits he'd always say. You know, a good Polish guy just always have one little liners about things, you know, about how we should do this and how we should do that. And then I had my father. And my father was always, he was always geared towards like the right way, his way or no way. And he was really what pushed me to be who I was, because I fought him on everything that he wanted me to do, like everything. And I fought him to be right on everything. And it was one of those things that I learned, that no matter what anybody else told me, I was going to do it if I put my mind to it. And some people don't learn that, because some people always get the yes answer, and I always got the no answer. So I had no's before most people had no's. You know, especially like when you're in sales, like you got to go through 1,000 no's before you get your first yes. Well, I had already had 10,000 no's. Like, no, that's not going to work. No, you don't want to do that, and I would do it anyway. You know, and I would learn lessons sometimes harder than most people, because I would do it, and then I would learn the lesson afterwards that, okay, maybe he was right. You know, but I wasn't going to let him tell me that I couldn't do it. So, you know, again, I had my grandpa was a huge sphere of influence of being, you know, self-employed and had his own business. And then I had the person that really pushed me in a positive and a negative way at the same time. And then I had to learn, you know, I'm third generation military. So my grandfather, my father, and I are all in the Navy. And we learned militantly is that this is how you do it. You know, you do it right, you do it one time, that's it. There's no other answer. And that's not how 98% of the rest of the world works.
That's correct.
So I had to learn that. That was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn, was how to project what I wanted to get it back versus how to dictate what I wanted and not get it. You know what I mean? So it was learning.
That's really well put.
It was learning the art of sales of coaching and training who works for you. and I had to learn it myself. Like I had to learn. There was a moment where I had been through, I don't know, probably 300-400 employees over 5 or 10 years, and I said, I keep hiring the same people, and I keep having the same problem, and I keep blaming everybody else but myself. So maybe I should figure out why I keep, 1, hiring the same people, 2, we keep having the same results every single time, and it wound up that it was me. I wasn't speaking the right way, I wasn't communicating the right way, I wasn't coaching and teaching the right way, and that's why I didn't get what I wanted in return. So that's kind of it's how it works.
Nice. I think it takes a big person to be able to say that.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, reading the book, you actually take into consideration your employees' opinions. Because again, they're on the front line. Sometimes, hey, you know what, boss? These are some of the things I think we could change, grab a little bit more business. Some people are not receptive to that. Some managers or some owners, entrepreneurs, are not receptive. This is the way it's going to be done. Shut your mouth. This is how we do it. You don't make no opinion. You don't make no decisions here. But in your book, you kind of talk about that a little bit. You discuss how, what you just mentioned, that maybe you wasn't projecting your idea, your concept to the employee in the right manner. They didn't receive it in the way your mind processed it.
Right.
So you was able to step back and say, hold on. Because I know some people like that.
I was like that. I mean, I'll tell you that,
people who own businesses, they had that same problem. For 20 years, they last maybe 2-3 months.
Right.
Keep hiring the same type of employee, but is it the employee or is it you?
Right.
It takes a big person to say, you know what? Let me take a look in the mirror. Maybe I'm the problem. Employees are doing what I'm telling them to do, but what am I telling them to do?
I appreciate that, and as humble as that sounds, that's not the reason why I did it, to be honest with you.
That's
So
right.
the reason I did it is because you have so much pain. Like you're going through these same things
Right, you have
day in
business
and
to run.
day out. And I'm like, I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of the pain. How do I fix it? And yes, humbly enough, I said maybe I have to fix me, but the original step was I'm tired of this pain. Like I'm tired of these problems.
Makes sense.
How can I fix it? And I said, all right, well, I've tried everything else that I know to do. Let me try something else that I don't know how to do. Is fix me. You know what I mean? And that's where it came from. And you'd be surprised. Like I tell everyone, it's your accountability that changes everything in your world.
Yes.
If you don't hold yourself accountable, it doesn't matter because you're going to get what everybody else wants to get.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like so. If you want things to change, you have to change them, and that's the part, and that was the result of I wanted things to change. So I had to figure out how do I, make that change happen because, I only knew what I knew, and now I have to figure out, and you only know what you know.
Right.
Like I don't care how long you've been in business or how long, some people only had 2 jobs their entire life. I had probably 20. You know what I mean? And I had a lot of different managers, and I had a lot of different people showing me. But that doesn't mean it was all right. You know what I mean? Like, apparently it wasn't. And apparently I gravitated to people like me, and I understood that. You know what I mean? But other people didn't understand them.
Gotcha.
So, then you go and try to do it yourself and try to emulate other managers, other supervisors, other owners, and it may not always work with the audience you have. And you have to learn to read the audience. And I tell people, you're a coach. Once you become a supervisor or manager, you're a coach. Because you have to learn how to get everybody on the field to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Because if you're not, you got 3 people going one way and 4 people going the other way, and you're not getting done what you want to get done. So.
Excellent. Now, I'm not going to give away the book, and I don't want you to give away the book, but I want you to give a little nugget, if you will. Is there anything in particular that's in the book that you wrote that kind of stands out that you wouldn't mind sharing with the masses of people to say, this one thing I think is a really key element to destination to success?
It's systems, man. It really is. If you don't have a good system in life, you're always going to have issues. A lot of people use the word fail, and I don't like to use it. You have not heard me say that word the whole time we've been sitting here. You said it about 22 times.
I said it.
When are you doing? And the word fail has such a negative connotation that when you say that, people are scared to try because of the word fail. We don't fail. What we do is we create a manner of actions, and you have 2 results. it worked or it didn't work. That's it. That's really all it is. It's not failure. You did A, B, and C, and either you got what you wanted or you didn't get what you wanted. So what I tell people is, and you can look, like it's almost posted in every department we have. There's a little list that goes down. Okay, we did this, we did this, we did this. Okay, did it work the way we wanted it to work today? If it's yes, then go back and do it the same way. If it's no, then what part of A, B, and C, D didn't work? We have to fix it because we want it to work. We want it to work because when you don't get the systems in place, it's work. It's a lot of work. It's hard work. It's grueling work. It's work that once makes you want to quit because it's like you keep beating your head on the table. Like, I don't understand why because you're doing A, B, and C every day and expecting a different result because you haven't changed anything. You have to change something to get a different result. And that's what most people don't understand is that they're like, well, I went to school, then I went to college, now I have a job, now I should be here. Well, why are you not here? Are you not putting the effort in? Are you not trying other things to get here? Like, and that's no matter what it is. You know, like if you want to be here, you have to do all the steps, and sometimes you go this way to get there and this way, or you go down and come back up, you know, like, but you have to take the steps. Like, you have to figure and evaluate, and system is the best way. You know, all these corporate chains, and I'm in the food industry, so I always relate to this. All these corporate chains are global. So when you go to Japan, for an example, and you go to Taco Bell in Japan, you're getting the exact same taco that you get in Japan, that you get in Brazil, that you get it. And the only way that works is because of the system they have in place. Whether you like it or don't like it is immaterial. They have a system. They buy their food from the same people. They put in, this is how you make the taco. Right. You know, and you're going to get the same taco every time.
It's the same formula.
It's the same formula, and that's why they can duplicate it, because the system works. They've tried it. It's tested and true, and that so you have to create that own system for you when you're doing things, whether it's work, or you're building a business, or you're just trying to get your kids to do something different. Well, you can't keep yelling at them every single time and think it's going to change. No, you have to introduce something else. Like, let's try this other thing this time. And that's what it is. I think systems is the key. I mean, first you have to get the right mindset, but once you get all that together, systems of doing things repetitively the same way until it doesn't work right, or you don't get the result you want. You have to keep modifying until you get to where you want to be.
Nice.
I love that. I don't think I'll ever say failure again. I will say didn't work. I really like that. It's just so cliche. People always say that. So you find it, but I like that idea of saying, you know what? No, that just didn't work.
Because think about it. When somebody tells you failed, how do you feel?
Yeah, it's such a negative connotation.
Right.
That just saying didn't work, it keeps it more. Right. I love that.
It's instrumental. It makes it more mechanic.
Yes.
That either you got the result or you didn't get the result. Because at the end of the day, that's really all it's about. It's not about success and failure. It's about, did I get the result or did I not get the result?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and if you did get the result, then you have to go back through the process and figure out why.
Right.
All that added up to not getting what you wanted.
Right.
And when I say that goes for everything in life, not just business. Exactly. It could be working out. Like, well, are you working out enough? Well, if you're working out, are you eating clean? Or are you still going to McDonald's every day? Or are we still eating pizza every day? We're doing 40 minutes on the treadmill, expecting to lose 80 pounds. Some people can do that. Some people, I can't, but some people can do that.
Pizzas and hating on pizza and McDonald's.
I don't hate on pizza.
Security.
Security. No, but you have to understand. Like, there's, you put the process in place, and then the result either comes out or it doesn't come out, and that's it. So if it didn't come out the way you wanted to, what can you adjust to make it come out the way you wanted to? And that's it. It's just adjustments. It's small little adjustments here and there to get you moving forward.
That's so great. And remind everybody again, how do we get your hands on the book?
So there's a link there, and you can come in on Thursday. We're doing the book signing, and then we'll also put the link for Amazon, so you can get it on Amazon as well. So we'll put that. I'll give you that link in a minute, and we'll put that up there as well. So yeah, you can go right on Amazon and get the book on Amazon. So yeah,
I think that's so great. I love that You know, they say a lot of times when you do for others, it comes back to you. You know, when your heart is truly like that you truly care about other people and you'll do for other people, you get that back. So
absolutely,
for all of the proceeds of this to go to such a great cause, LLS. I mean that's just. And you know what? And you're also you're helping a great organization. You're also going to help yourself.
Right. You're going to help yourself, help them, and you know,
or help someone buy a few. Like you know, right? Like if you
hand it to somebody that wants to start their own business, or somebody that's struggling.
Someone
with
else that you know that needs that. You know, that's it's all going to a great cause. That's fantastic. That's really really fantastic. What made you say like, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on Amazon. I'm gonna publish it. Like, what I know a lot of people were pushing you, but what was that like real defining moment where you said, "This is it"?
It just like we're sitting there, you know, on the balcony smoking cigars and drinking scotch and talking. And I was helping another friend with some issues that wasn't listening and wasn't taking my advice, and James was just like, "Look," and I was like, "You know what? You know, I've been saying I was going to do this. I've been kicking the can around." I was like, and I actually paid Kareem like months ago to help me start writing this book, and I'm like, it's like, you already gave me the money. It's already here. Let's just knock this out. I have some extra time on my hands, you know, because we're not as busy as we should. So I should be able to get this done. And my business coach was like, all right, you have till February. And I was like, oh boy. So, you know, I'm as competitive as it gets. You know, obviously it's in my nature, but I was like, all right, I have to get it done. So it wound up February 15th is when we launched it. But, you know, having that push to get it done, you know, and there's nights that I was like, you know, and he was like, hey, you need to have this other chapter because I got to preview it and I have to make sure, you know, and I was like, so, you know, you have to have somebody push you know, you need to get a coach. You need to have, you know, that's why, you know, all the professional athletes have coaches, personal trainers, they have nutritionists, you know, because if they didn't, they wouldn't stay as healthy and as where they are. And if it wasn't that much of an investment, like that's, you know, so I have multiple coaches as well as helping other people and coaching other people as well. So, you know, it's always good. You learn just as much as when you're helping and coaching other people, you learn just as much yourself. Like, so as I'm helping other people, that in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should try this at our place now. Like, now that I'm saying it out loud to him, that, you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes you just, that's what you have to do. And that's, you know, that's really where it all started is we sit down, we smoke cigars, and everybody starts talking business or work or things, you know, and if you listen, you know, you're like, wait a minute, maybe I should try that. Like, let's see how that works out. You know, we're having this issue with this, and it's not really where we want it to be. It's not bad, but it could be better. Let's try to tweak it like this, and you know, and that's just kind of. It was one of those things. Like I just said, okay, I got to get this done. Like I can't keep putting this off anymore.
Toni, we're gonna hire Lisette to do our interviewing for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's doing a great job.
She is doing a great. For somebody that just rolled in, there's nothing about me or the book. She's doing a great job.
Got a flat tire on 40. Say, hey, sports right here.
You know what?
Stop it.
I'm gonna pick his brain as much as possible. You know, like you know, I love the energy and everything, and you know, I know that I don't know everything, and I'm always striving to be better. You know, so I look at other people who are doing. You know, I would say more than what I'm doing, but you know, like that I'm like I look up to you. Like I think that that's fantastic. So I definitely want to learn as much as I can. I'm really looking forward to you know getting my hands on
I
this book.
haven't read the book. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
However, it's from what you've explained the book to be. I don't think you need to be an entrepreneur
You don't.
to learn
You're
from
not.
it.
You
I
don't.
think you could read it and use it in your everyday life. From what I'm hearing here tonight.
Sure. I mean, it's obviously written and geared towards people in business, but if you don't have to take it literally, just take it figuratively and implement it in your life, you know, and do things like that. And with you saying what you said, I don't know everything either. That's why I have a coach. You know what I mean? Like, and I have a coach for accountability. I have a coach for that I can you know, run things off of them. You know, like, hey, this is what I was thinking to do, and you know, what do you think about that? And if they don't know, they're going to ask somebody else that they, you know, in their group of people. So the more people you can get around you that are functioning the way you want to function, the better you're going to be. And that's really what the lesson is to make sure you always have people that have big goals and big dreams. You know what I mean? Because there's too many people out there that just settle. They settle for average. You know what I mean? And that's cool for some people, but it's not cool for me, and it's never
Right.
been what I wanted. I've always wanted, the brass ring. I always wanted everything up top, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
You want, and I've worked, and I've worked, and I've worked, and that's the other thing people have to understand, that none of this happens without the work.
Absolutely.
You could read this book all you want, but it isn't going to all of a sudden, show up. You got to actually put the work in,
Right.
And it's hard work, and sometimes it's work that you realize, really, do I really want to put this much work in? And then then you have that win. You're like, wow, I put that little extra work in, and now it actually came. I got it. This is what I was.
Some of those goals.
Yeah,
Right.
I got that goal. So, and don't make goals small. You know what I mean? Like I tell people all the time. It's ready. It's aim fire. Like just do it. Like jump off the cliff and figure it out on the way down. You know what I mean? Like you'll figure it out.
Right.
But if you stand there and look, you're never going to do it. Like just jump and do it. Figure it out. Go along the way, and then just keep adjusting as you're doing it. It'll work out. That's what we do here. This is why our country is the greatest country in the world, is that we can have these opportunities, and then there's tons of people that have done what I'm doing. There's tons of people that have done more than I'm doing. So there's people out there, and what people are scared to do is ask. They're scared to ask somebody, and I'm hoping that the book and this kind of conversation on a podcast, talk to the people around you. I promise, if you ask them, they'll give you answers. Most people aren't going to shun you because you ask them, like, how'd you get there? Or how'd you do that? You'd be surprised at the answers you get when you ask questions like that. It's crazy. Like, they'll start rattling off. You're like, whoa, I didn't even know all that. Whoa! You know what I mean? But the point is, like, if you don't ask, you're never going to get,
so
the answer's no if you don't ask the question. It's
That's
always no.
That's the beauty of a cigar lounge.
Yes,
as well.
it is. It absolutely is.
We just sit around just smoking cigars and that's
We do.
it, or it's just somewhere to, which is true. We do enjoy cigars, but you can sit down next to anyone. You
Right.
can go in a lounge you've never been in a day in your life, and you can sit down and learn from the person next to you immediately.
Right.
How did you get started with that? And it's the culture of cigars is just, it's unlike anything else. It's like we have so many people want to see everyone win.
Right.
You don't get a lot of that negativity. Like
No.
that's the beauty of, I think, of the leaf.
Yes.
200 hands it takes to just create this, just for us to, and it's just the beauty of cigars. It just brings this energy of just like, what, let me help you win.
Sure.
And not everyone has branched out to go to a cigar lounge. Some people are just picking up a stick or and going home, and but this book, it's like sitting next to sitting in a room full of successful people in a cigar lounge, all wrapped into one.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's there's a lot of lessons I learned.
Yeah.
Sitting in a cigar lounge, and it some things were I had to get my shit together even more. Like I'm sitting around with guys that are really high functioning above me, and I really want to be where they're at. So I really got to push myself even more. To do this and do that, and you know what? Yes, I got to stop saying tomorrow and start saying today.
Yes.
And that's really what it is. Like you just keep doing it, and you're right. I've been all over. My coach is in Texas, so I go to Texas all the time, and I hit 2 or 3 cigar lounges down there, and it's funny because every lounge is the same. I don't care where you go.
Yeah, right.
Like if you have your
Right.
favorite
You're
lounge,
right.
you can name the same people that are at the lounge
Yeah.
you just visited,
Yep.
at the lounge at home. The guy that's there every night. Every night. He's the one that keeps the lights on. It's that one right there. It's that one right there. Then you have the other person. And it's the same everywhere, and it doesn't have to just be cigars. Obviously we're sitting here smoking a cigar, but, if you like tennis, it's the same in tennis. You have something that everyone mutually enjoys.
Right.
And then
Culture.
that's the culture that you start with, and you start talking and asking questions. It can be tennis, it can be golf, it can be books, it could be chess, it could be whatever it is, but use that to your benefit, because whatever that medium is that you're doing is what basically allows you to have an open conversation with someone that maybe outside of those doors you would never be able to talk to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So take advantage of that situation, that you can sit across from that person, and you can start a conversation that you may not be able to on a normal day.
Yes.
And I agree. Cigar lounges is it. You know what I mean? Like there's you have all walks of life that come through these doors. and from the bottom to the top. And when they sit down, the cigar is the equalizer. Everybody enjoys it, and next thing you know, we start talking about whatever it is you're talking about.
Absolutely.
All right, now we can't. Now we got to talk about you. We got to get into you. We got to get into the lovely young lady. We got to get into you. You got to give us a little breakdown. Tell us who you are, where you from.
Yes.
Give us a little background if you don't mind.
Yeah, so my name is Lisette. I am the representative for Drew Estate. I'm basically handle the territory, all the tobacconists in Maryland, DC, and Virginia.
Okay.
For Drew Estate, which are known for many different cigar brands. Acid, Liga Privada, Isla del Sol, La Rutan, Herrera Esteli, Undercrown, Deadwoods, quite a few different brands. Joya de Nicaragua we represent for as well. So I've been in the cigar industry about 9 years. I branched out from another company. I've been with Drew Estate since March, and I've always been the biggest fan of Drew Estate. And so I guess I don't want to say low on the totem pole. I'll probably get my hand slapped for saying something like that, like the failure word, like you're not allowed to say low on the totem pole, but I kind of am, So I have a small area and just want to make sure everybody knows, about the cigars, the right selection, just getting to know everyone. But when there's so much of what you were saying today that just really warms my heart and soul into being a part of the Drew Estate family, because that's really what Drew Estate is. It's a true family. And our CEO, Glenn Wolfson, I mean, he's, I do believe it does start at the very top.
Yes.
And he has to be one of the kindest people, and like an open door, and you really feel that. Like on my very first day, he video called me, and it was just so, we're just so happy for you to be with the company. And I didn't feel like it was a generic, right, I do this as a like, okay, hey, welcome to, I felt like it was really truly genuine. And his leadership is just phenomenal, and I think he's really great at empowering everyone. So setting, here's kind of the goal, or here's who we are as an organization, and it's amazing to me. I do believe that if you don't have that fantastic leadership at the very, very top, then it's really hard for everyone to be fantastic and great. And everyone that I work, whether they're in marketing or finance or sales or consumer engagement, operations, everyone is just always on their A game. I see in Drew Estate, and really cares about what they do. And I think it's because it's evident that everyone is valued. Okay. You can from the rollers, like how important that is, a person sorting tobacco, like how important every single person is, to our overall success. And it all started, with Jonathan, Drew, and Marvin, like with a little dream, and
I got a story
like,
too.
that true American dream, like, and if I think about, like, so this year is 25 years.
Wow.
There will be a 25th anniversary celebration right outside of Dallas, Texas, on September 25th. There's tickets on sale at Eventbrite for that. It'll be the biggest Drew Estate party ever thrown. But Jonathan Drew also got recognized with a Legacy Award this year. And 25 years is a big deal. Like when you think about 25 years ago, I wouldn't say. I bet he never thought he would be, where he is today, or Drew Estate is where it is today, but he probably did, and sky is still the limit. Like, it's 25 years now, and a lot, like, what you're saying about systems, those systems being in place, I'm not one of those people that says I can sell ice to an Eskimo, because I don't think that's
you can't.
It's not a good business plan.
You can do it. You can do it.
I'm not trying to sell ice to an Eskimo.
Hey,
like, no, that's okay. No, thank you. But really, I mean,
It's thirsty too. It's all right.
The systems in place in everything that goes into making a cigar, and from seedling to finish, like trusting who are these farmers that we're always buying our tobacco from. When tobacco is cured and fermented and sorted, and is it from this part of the plant, it's going to give, different primings are going to give different tastes out of the tobacco. It's not just it's this seed or this plant, and there's just so much that goes into it. Was there more rainfall this year? Do we need to take a little bit to keep the blend the same? There is so much that goes into that whole system, that to keep that consistency, to keep people coming back every day, that I can walk in here into Spartan Cigar Lounge and say, yeah, like these are great cigars, and recommending to anyone, like, what do you like? I mean, if you like cigars, there's a Jew estate for you. The portfolio is ridiculous, so but just knowing that you're going to get quality every time, and just so many great values. There's so much that they do for the people of Nicaragua, especially, and it's just just giving back. I'm truly humbled to be a part of the Jew Estate family, and really happy to be a part of the Jew Estate family. So, that's where I'm at, and I'm smoking a tobacco.
All right, now out of curiosity, because folks are listening,
Yes.
at least my curiosity, how does this adventure come about for you smoking cigars? How long have you been smoking?
So, I've been around cigars forever. Since my first memories were being around, my uncles, grandpa, people smoking cigars, and, so I'm used to it. I love the smell. Okay. There's something about the smell of cigars, but it was always something that, like, I didn't smoke cigars. I think I really tried to smoke my first cigar, I was about 20 years old, and I inhaled, and I'm sure it was a full body cigar, and I was like, no way, I'm not doing this. And then a couple years later, actually, two of my girlfriends who smoke cigars were like, look, we're going to sit down, we're going to showed me how to really cut. It was just the three of us, how to cut, how to light, how to smoke, and just taught me, they were like, okay, act like you're smoking in a straw. And I still teach people this today. I say, act like you're smoking in a straw, and that you're going to puff your cheeks out, like if you're filling your cheeks up with water, and then you're just about to just spray it on someone for a joke. And so I tried that. I was like, okay, well, let me see.
So weed didn't come first. It's all right. You can tell. It's all right. So weed didn't.
Plead the fifth.
Okay.
I never have time on it. Okay. I have no idea.
Seems like you're smoking weed. Oh, yeah, that's what I did. And I did that first cigar. And I'm not supposed to do all that. Is that what happened? You can tell us. We're family. We can talk. The people want to know.
I thought we were talking about cigars.
We are. But your first cigar, you took that puff and you inhaled. You're like, woo.
I would tell you the first cigar I had that I didn't inhale, and I really learned this is a cigar, and we tried different cigars, and then once I came into the industry, I really started smoking much more regularly, and so I would say regularly almost about 10 years.
10 years, okay.
As far as in every day.
Oh, nice. Now we see, that's what I always ask every rep, because as a cigar smoker, we look and say, man, it look like that's the life. You get to smoke cigars all day, go talk to people. So what would you think the pros and cons would be to being a rep? Because in our mind, at least the people who just smoke and are consumers, you think, man, this is the job. Because all you doing is smoke cigars all day.
Right.
So, maybe that's true, maybe it's not. What can you tell the folks about that? Would that be the case? Okay, you're living a life where there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes that we don't get to see, obviously.
Right. I think it's anyone in whatever career they're in, I look at, I appreciate nurses and everything that they do. I love it. I can't be around blood. I could never do that a day in my life, and I appreciate that they're able to do that, and I think that this was just the chosen path for me. I think that this was what I'm meant to do, and it makes me feel good. Sometimes when I just meet people and I was like, hi, how are you? And they smile. It just makes me feel good. Okay, they're smiling.
Not everybody's going to smile. You're going to have some folks,
smile.
They look at you like, hey, you're like, okay. And your mind thinking, he's a butthole, or she's a butthole. Let's keep it. Okay,
but you know what? You can also get people to smile who you're not sure if they smile. And then it's you're letting them know, hey, what? It's almost like, hey, well, what do you like? I like turning people on to something else. You know, I love food. I'm a foodie.
Okay.
You know, so even just like make like people happy just with food or cigars or just like, hey, I think you will like this. If you like this, then I think you'll like this as
Gotcha.
well. But for me personally, where I knew that this was kind of my path was the first time going and into Central America. And seeing the people working and how sweet and humble they were, and you know, and just the community of, you know, it's not a lot there, right? But like everyone's happy, you know. You go through, you got people with like dirt floors, and
Right.
you know, like, but everyone's happy, and I said, you know what, like, if I sell more cigars for a company that's really doing something for these communities, then you know what? As simple as an hour visit and I placed a couple boxes on a shelf, I'm almost like I still maybe help someone keep their job.
Good.
I don't know.
No, that's good.
It's
No,
just,
'cause I do hear that aspect of it. So now, with that being the case, so what do you think maybe some of the behind the scenes, I guess maybe long hours, the traveling, so some of those can be, I guess, demanding. Because again, you know, I think in all reality, I'm going to speak for a lot of folks that we look at this and say, oh man, I think that's the job to have.
Right.
He's trying to take your job. Be careful.
Yeah.
Hey, let them know we can hear him.
I think what he's getting at, so what he
like-
doesn't know, and I do know, is that you have children. But I also know that with your former company, you didn't travel a lot, and you were actually missing the travel. So
Right. I traveled differently. I traveled a lot by plane. Where now I'm pretty much by car, which feels great because I can just get right back home. You
Right.
know, but I was traveling by plane a lot in a boardroom, in a corporate office, or it wasn't as much of just the face-to-face interaction with just the everyday, you know, consumer coming in.
So is it a struggle having the kids? I mean, I know we
Yeah.
talked about this, but
I believe in quality time over quantity time. And at the end of the day, we have to work hard. Like you were saying, you know what? You have to work hard. Like I can't just sit back and expect everything to be given to me, you know? So, but yeah, I'm a firm believer in quality time. You can spend all the time in the world, but you know what? If you don't have money to take vacations,
Right.
or when you are together, are you having fun? Are you playing games?
Right.
Are you really interacting?
life.
And you know, you got FaceTimes and all that. So you got to just, you know what? Is it all sugar coat? Like no work? I mean, it's ridiculous to think that, you know. But in comparison to a lot of other careers out there, I do enjoy smoking a good part of my day. I definitely enjoy that. I don't have to wait for to get off work. Like, man, I'm going to sit back and
That's true.
And when I get off work
Right.
and have a smoke, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sit back and have a
Smoke
smoke
right
while I'm
now.
working.
So what she's trying to tell you is if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
That's very
There you
true.
go.
That's very true. How many cigars do you think you might smoke a day?
It varies.
Really?
I can have one cigar a day, and there's time I'm gonna have 6 cigars in a day.
Okay.
It really depends on what's going on. Yeah, I can't have 6 full body cigars in a day. You know, I can have 6. I can have 6 tobacco a day. Yeah,
That's when you're throwing tobacco
That's how
in
we started before we came on. You were saying about tobacco, and what was your story too about tobacco?
Well, no. So I stumbled on these. Like this wasn't something that I actually stumbled on it here. And we would go out to the golf course and we start golfing. And most cigars you have to really like stay with. You really have to puff on them. Well, you can't do that when you're playing golf because you're in and out of the golf cart and you're swinging a golf. You know, you're looking for your ball, you're swinging the ball into the club trying to hit it, but the bag stays lit. You know, and that's what I was telling you. I'm like, I love this because it stays lit. 2, you can do 3 or 4 of these. You know, while you're out on the golf course, it doesn't feel like you have a hangover when you get done. So it's it's a lighter, you know, medium, but it's just, you know, you can enjoy smoking your cigar. And you don't have to sit there and try to keep lighting it every single time. So this is my go-to on the golf course. I mean, I tell everybody that. You know, like I love it. And especially when you start early. You know, you start at 9 o'clock. This is a good one to start with 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like I don't drink coffee, but this would be my coffee. So yeah.
Okay, well, that is my coffee. I drink coffee. and many of my listeners do drink coffee. So hey, but the golf game, that's another story. We're not going to discuss that. But there you have it, folks. Another episode of Smoke World in the books. Again, you can follow me on Instagram at Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com and the website smokeworldpodcast.com. And again, go check out my brother, The Leaf, Dante with Cigar Recon. Just a reminder, you will need a promo code, which is SmokeWorld21, when you make that purchase to get that same price that you see online there. Okay, folks, appreciate you listening. Don't you forget to like, subscribe, and share this, and we'll check you out on the other side. Peace.